ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of
Cuz you don't know football.
Tariq, we are in it. Game time has begun. Are you ready to put your money where your mouth is with all the shit you've talked this summer?
Listen.
All of these picks is going.
Don't you see with my game jersey on?
Yeah.
Look like the pep rally in high school, like all over again.
Yeah, exactly. Pep rally.
Let me say, it is game time.
Just like with the pep rally, you are going to be sitting on the bench while my picks and my predictions take over. But seriously, we're recording this the day after the first game of the season. We had a wild one last night. It was very interesting. Bills versus the Rams.
Listen, that was needed. First of all, to see something like that was needed. We needed that, and I'm glad that everybody got to experience it. I think we should jump into that a little bit.
I think we have to. Last time we spoke, this was a prediction, not a prediction, but a foreshadowing of the Super Bowl that I picked. Now, it didn't go the way that I picked, and I'm not. It's too early for me to say that I got to change to the Bills.
It's written down right there.
Oh, man.
Timmy said, Bills losing to the Rams in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That doesn't look great right now.
What a game, though. I have to say the Bills dominated the entire way, outside of the multiple turnovers they had, which, 2 picks for Josh Allen, a fumble by Cook early in the game that led to points. The Rams look completely overmatched.
Yeah, it's not just that the Bills clearly look better. It's that the Bills could have played a lot better too. And I think that's the part of this that's really going when you look at it.
Yeah, and to me, what was evident was specific to the Bills' offense and defensive lines. They absolutely dominated. I mean, on the Bills' defensive line, clearly adding Von Miller was like, good Lord, he had 2 sacks. I think there was 5 sacks on Matthew Stafford the entire game. The run game for the Rams just never got rolling. It just never happened. Now, it's way too early. It's game one.
It's game one.
The Rams are clearly have a long season and going to pick it up. I still maintain my Super Bowl pick.
But the most telling thing. This was the most telling thing. What you say? Matthew Stafford had 5 sacks.
He was sacked 5 times, I think.
They said the Bills did not blitz him 1 time. So that's literally.
I think I lied here. I think I'm looking at 7 sacks. Is that what that says in this?
It's something like that. It's something. It's something. 5 is outrageous. 7 is even more outrageous.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, when you look at the Bills, what their weakness was last year, it was the pass rush. They had the #1 defense in the league. They just didn't have a pass rush. For you to be able to now flip that, and now you don't even have to blitz, and you're getting 7 sacks against the Super Bowl champion. I mean, this league, man, we might be in some trouble.
I know. What I think more impressive is, last week we had a consensus pick that Josh Allen was the MVP.
And he just he stuck his case in there.
He just said, "Here I am. Yep, you come get it for everyone else in the league."
The stats. His stats. This is Josh Allen. He's 26 of 31, 297 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 picks. Oh, and 10 carries for 56 yards and a touchdown.
And one of his 2 picks, it wasn't. I mean, one literally bounced off one of his wide receivers' hands. It was just what do you do with that?
But that's what I'm saying. The scary part about all this is he could have been better.
Yeah.
You don't come away with a game like that. That's efficient. That's just torching. This is just, he could have been better. It could have been worse. So there you go. So I'm gonna read off some more of these stats. So it's not even like he didn't get a whole bunch in terms of the run game. I mean, Devin Singletary, 8 carries, 48 yards. Zach Moss, 6 carries, 15 yards. James Cook only had 1 carry for 2 yards, and he had a fumble. So he still didn't get a whole bunch from in terms of the run game. But my man Stephon Diggs, 8 receptions, 122 yards, 1 touchdown. Gabe Davis, 4, and he's picking up right where he left off last year. 4 receptions, 88 yards, 1 touchdown.
Did you see his gender reveal?
No.
Did you see that, Gabe Davis?
I wasn't even prepared mentally
you gotta watch that video. I saw it before we came in. Just not to throw you there. Davis, I'm pretty sure it's Davis. He caught his touchdown pass. He spoke into the camera and screamed, "It's a boy!" And from what I saw in the videos, it was to his sister. Gender reveal. They were having a party on his opening night. So we'll have to check out that
Yeah,
video.
I gotta
Maybe
check
put
that
That
out,
was pretty
man.
cool,
You
right?
should
Not
set
to
some
throw you
footage.
off. I know. Just thought
when
about it.
you brought up Denver, I said I'm not prepared for this conversation right now.
Yeah, so I do want to just note I felt a little bit bad for James Cook. 1 carry, 2 yards. His first and only carry in the NFL. He got the ball punched out by.
That's how you get 1 carry in the game.
And then he just got sacked.
It might be 3 or 4 weeks before we hear from him again.
We just might not.
1 carry. They was like, you're not touching the ball again.
Yes, exactly. They sat him down. Old school football. There, you drop the ball, you are off the field.
Yeah, man. So I mean, even the Bills' defense, they had how many picks did they have? 1, 2, 3, 3 picks.
Yeah, they
3 picks.
Stafford look
sacks. Von Miller had 2. Another guy, I don't know how to pronounce it. I might be saying it wrong. Rosal. I'm not sure how to say it. Sorry, people. Yeah. He had a sack. Jordan Phillips had a sack and a half. Carlos Basham. He had a sack, and then AJ and Pensa. They got some names on this Bills defense.
Yeah.
And he had a sack and a half, and I'm like, geez, Louise, you know.
Well, what I think is telling too is we're talking about the Bills' defensive line, right? So you look at the Rams rushing, 52 total yards between 4 people rushing the ball. They had 18 rushing attempts. Darrell Henderson Jr. had 13 with 47 yards, and on one of them was a long of 18. The entire time I watched the game, the entire time watching the game, I was just like, they could not go anywhere. And as an offensive lineman, I hated that feeling where you just every single time it's like a yard, 2 yards. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't. It never sparks any excitement. You're just like trying to grind this out, and you're getting beat up every time. So, yeah, I mean, look, I think the Rams will, long season. I still put them in the Super Bowl. I still put them winning. They'll figure it out. All of that will come together most likely. I still think they're going to have a run at it, but the Bills, man, it's going to be very fun to watch them if they dominate and play like this.
Yeah, so I'm going to read off the Ram stats, and then I'll give my 2 cents on that. So Matthew Stafford, he was 29 of 41 for 240 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 picks. Darrell Henderson, no, I'm at the running backs. 13 carries, 47 yards, no touchdowns, nothing really to talk about in terms of the run game. Cooper Kupp had 13 receptions for 128 yards and 1 touchdown.
Yeah, he had himself a game. He was the only one getting the ball.
It's almost like the Bills said, keep giving him the ball because you ain't beating us no other way. So they did have, just like you said, 2 picks. Did they have any sacks? They did have a sack. Yeah. Bobby Wagner had a sack and just 1 sack.
Aaron Donald had a sack. So it looks like they had 2. Aaron Donald, the sack that Aaron Donald had was absolutely wild. They decided to block him one-on-one, and he took his left arm and just pushed and pulled a guy with 1 arm. A grown ass.
I said that to
with
you
a
over
grown
the
ass
summer.
man, and then sidestepped him. And
I said that to you over the summer. Like, he did an interview where he basically was like, listen, I'm always getting double teamed and triple teamed. So when he can see they're going to man me up, he gives a signal that basically says cornerbacks jumped around. Yeah. Because this is going to be quick.
1 arm, he threw a guy, pushed him, and then pulled him down and just went around him.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh boy.
So
they didn't make that mistake again. There was not many single blocking assignments on him after that.
Right. So I do want to just say this. So the Bills were very impressive, of course. I do want to say, do not overreact to the Rams. Me and Timmy were actually talking about this a little bit right before this. Dude, you're also, like, as much as you can go to the matchup itself, you're also talking about the team last year in the Bills who feels as though they got hosed the most in terms of any team. Like, they're like this, that, like, they're pissed off about exactly how their season ended. And the Super Bowl champs, and however you spin it, there's going to be a Super Bowl layover because you ain't as hungry as the team that's mad about what's going on now. So I think that has a lot to do with what this is. I think as much as we could talk about matchup, I also feel as though this is bad timing for the Rams to play the Bills.
Yeah, I completely agree. And there's a lot of, last night with the Rams as well, there's a lot of spectacles going on, right? Like, they're dropping the banner. There's a lot of things going on with that with the Super Bowl. OBJ was there. Did you see him there, all decked out in Rams colors? With his ring on. There's a lot going on there. It's supposed to be a special night for them, and they played the preseason favorite, who has improved their team year over year, and it's tough. Lot to go on. Like I said, I agree. Don't overreact at the moment, but we'll see how this ends up, and it'll be an interesting one. I will say I had Matthew Stafford on my fantasy football team. Shit, it's not looking good for my fantasy football team.
Okay.
With that, let's move on to the games. We have how many more games do we have this weekend? 15?
We got a bunch of games. So just to let everyone know, so how this is going to go to now, we don't have to think about different topics to think about all the time. This is pretty much going to be pretty smooth. So we're going to talk about games that we feel as though are must-watch games. We're going to do 3 must-watch games, and then we're going to give you 2 picks. Was it 2 or 3? I forget. 2 or 3 picks of spread picks that me and him. It's not the same, and we're just going to
discuss this.
No, we have not discussed this. This is live. So starting next week, we'll be able to go over everything. But that's where we're going to be at this week. It's going to be a pretty easy week.
All right, perfect. Which game do you want to start with?
So I just want to say this, only because I'm actually wearing the jersey. I don't want to talk about the Colts and the Texans. However, I
think the Texans are going to win that game.
Listen, I'm going to say this. I think they said the last 8 years we've started the season 0-1. I'll be damned if we start off 0-1 and we lose to the Texans. So I'm not even. It's not. We should blow them out, but
I don't know.
It's not even something I want to even talk about.
That line 7. Might have to pick the Texans on that one.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. All right, cool. So here's the game. So we were talking. I'm not a big fan. I think we watched the best game of the week actually. So the rest of these games, we'll figure them out. But we will go. We'll talk about and analyze. Let's talk about the Chiefs-Cardinals game.
All right, let's hear it. So this game is being played over at It's
in Arizona.
In Arizona, yep. I was trying to find that right here. There's State Farm Stadium out there. Interesting. Okay, so they're at Arizona. I think out of the games we're going to talk about today, this is one of the wider spreads in the game. It's actually Chiefs are favored by I think it's 6 right now. I think the Chiefs are just a better team. Mm-hmm. You have Mahomes. Yeah, we lost Tyreek Hill over there, but you still have Travis Kelce. You still have every single one of their other weapons that are there, and more so Arizona. While they, seem to improve than last season, and especially with but they have DeAndre Hopkins that's going to be suspended for this game, right? So that makes it a bit tough on the offense for the team or for the Cardinals. So I mean, Hopkins is serving a 6-game suspension, so they're gonna have to figure it out with or without him.
Right, you don't act right.
I know. I think we talked about this earlier. I think Cardinals are gonna have to steal 3 or 4 of their first 6 games to maintain relevant. This is not going to be the game for me that they steal.
No, they're actually the Chiefs are favored by 6 on the road.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a pretty, even though I like the matchup because I want to see how well Kyler can do now. You know what I mean? Having last year, they started off so hot. You know what I mean? They tanked a little bit. Kyler got his contract. I want to see what he can do, but I think this is gonna be a high scoring game. But I do think the Chiefs are going to win this game.
Yeah, I think that's a easy.
I don't have any controversy there.
Easy one to agree on.
I don't have anything controversial to say there.
If there is one to watch, I think that's the like I said, where to go. And I think part of it though too is to see how the Chiefs look. I mean, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid have been. They've been dominating the league for 3 years now together. Mm-hmm. They're a couple Super Bowl appearances.
4 Listen, 4 years as a starter, Mahomes, 4 AFC Championship games.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they've been absolutely dominating.
2 Super Bowls.
The big conversation this year is how's Mahomes going to perform, or how we put up so much emphasis on Tyreek Hill's skill and speed, right? Like they call him the cheetah for a reason. But we have, I was just looking up here, Travis Kelce, Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquise Valdez-Scantling, Hardman, and then Sky Moore's the new kid, right?
He's a rookie.
So, yeah, I mean, and then their backfield's still capable. I think it'll be interesting to just see how they perform, right? They may come out and look absolutely solid and be like, all right, we have nothing to worry about. Andy Reid knows what he's doing, right?
Cool.
All right, cool. So that will be
all right, so that's that one. So moving along to what we think is the next game, which is Steelers at Bengals. Now, for me, I'm really curious to see the Steelers as a complete roster, how they look, because you could make the case that the Steelers roster is absolutely one of the top 5 rosters in the NFL. You can make that case. Now the quarterback play is going to be what we're looking at, but like how do they maneuver around that? So I'm looking at that, and then Joe Burrow coming back, you know what I mean, and the Bengals losing in the Super Bowl. Yeah. How they gonna do a tough division game, and it's the toughness that why I'm so curious about it, because are the Bengals tough enough to come back right now and still feel as though we're the rougher, tougher team against the Steelers, who are notoriously the rougher, tougher team?
Yeah, have the Steelers been the rougher, tougher team in recent years, though?
I think they have been. I think so. All right, so they've been like a team that's been like 8-8, or like, you know what I mean, like, or like right above that. But they're the team that you really don't want to play because there's always that physical presence. I would say that.
Yeah. I mean, look, Mitch Trubisky's been not stellar.
All right, can I say this? Mitch Trubisky will be better than Ben Roethlisberger was last year.
I think that. I mean, Ben.
Okay.
Big Ben was like.
Okay, so even like let's say the last year and a half. Let's say year and a half.
I agree.
So they're better. You know what I mean? At quarterback today.
I think what'll be interesting to see more so.
Just not much better.
I mean, I'm going Bengals with the win here. They're a 6.5 point favorite. Mm-hmm. I think they might cover that as well. What will be interesting as well to see the Super Bowl hangover, right? Like Joe Burrow, I still think Joe Burrow is a stud, and we're going to see a lot of great things out of him this year and for his career. But we'll see how Week 1 is with him and that team. How Joe Mixon performs. Are they on the road? Where are they at?
They're in Cincinnati.
They're in Cincinnati, so they're home. So that's great for them. That should definitely give them an additional advantage. But yeah, I think this will be more of a, as you said, rough and tough and hard nosed type football game. I'd love to see like them air it out. Mm-hmm. I'm not entirely sure that we'll get that. Mm-hmm. Joe Burrow might. I don't know how much Trubisky will give it to us, but we'll see.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, I think that the this game is right here is why I tend not to bet Week 1, because I can absolutely see the Steelers feeling like, yo, we gonna go.
Yeah.
I mean, we coming to them and we gonna shock the world right now, and I can see it happening. I think the Bengals are gonna win though. But
this is where I come back to quarterbacks, like Joe Burrow is a better quarterback, and the Bengals have a better team. So.
Yeah, so. You know what, Timmy? I just thought about it right now. Let's do 4 games this week, only because we gotta fill in. We gotta
I'm making this up on the fly, so we're gonna do all 16.
Going on the fly. I tell you what. Okay, cool. So we're pretty much in agreement there, but all right, cool. So then let's move on to another game that we had spoke about. Eagles-Lions.
Fresh off of Hard Knocks series, right? The Lions. I'll be completely transparent. Didn't watch any of it. Did you watch any of it?
I didn't even know the Lions were on Hard Knocks. I just shook my head like this one.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. I mean, the Lions, for me, they're one of those teams that they definitely had an improved offseason, right? So, I think they've been they look like an improved team. I just have a feeling that we're going to get the Lions. Matt Rule's still their coach, right?
The Lions? No, yeah. Matt Rule's, that's Carolina.
Carolina, excuse me. It's
Campbell, Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell. Okay, that's who I was thinking about, not Matt Rule. See, I need to know these things. But I feel like where the Lions have gotten to themselves now is they're going to be contenders in very close games, and that's about it. Like, they might not get blown out all the time. Mm-hmm. And this game could be an interesting one against the Eagles. Eagles are favored by 4 in Detroit.
You got 4.5.
Oh, it might have moved. The line I'm looking at now could have been moved one way or the other, but you're probably more up to date. So I think this is going to be a close game, but what will be telling more to see here, and it's kind of the theme we're talking about now, is how do the Eagles perform? They had a good end of the season last year. I think they won like 6 of 8 or something like that. They're probably projected to, in some people's eyes, win the division over the Cowboys. I mean, we'll see how that turns out, and you somehow think the Commanders are going to be in there, but we'll talk about that another day. The interesting piece for me this weekend will be like, how does Jalen Hurts and that team perform against the Detroit Lions team who hasn't proved anything in a long time? Mm-hmm. And for my sake, as a Cowboys fan, I hope they get their ass beat. Mm-hmm. The Eagles, not the Lions. And the Lions proved me wrong, but I don't necessarily have the confidence.
Okay. So, Timmy, I got something to say.
Is Jared Goff up there now, too?
Yes, he is up there. I have something to say. I think the Detroit Lions are going to win this game.
I love it. Music to my ears.
And I think so. Philly being road favorites. This will be the game. See, this will be the game when you look at it and you say, "Oh, it's Detroit," and Philly is the favorite in the division. You look at it and you say, "Oh yeah, this is somehow lopsided." And I don't think it's lopsided. So Detroit, to go off of what you just said, or piggyback off of what you just said, I think Detroit is that team that. Like this year, I'm looking at Detroit to be that team where when I start sports, like when I'm sports betting and stuff like that, that they're the team that like when like the spread is like 7 points, I'm like, oh, I'm going to go with Detroit because it's going to be a close game.
So you're looking for Detroit.
I think they're closer. I think they can compete with anybody. I don't know how many of those teams they can beat, but I think we're talking. I don't see them getting blown out a bunch of times this year. I see them like losing, you know what I mean? Yeah. Probably like 9 games, and then like, you know what I mean? All of them are like 4 points or less, you know? So but this week 1, I think, I'm picking that. That's the pick. That's how you do it, America. That's the pick. I'm picking Detroit for the upset at home.
I love it. I just look at this roster and I'm like, who's going to do it? Jared Goff throwing the ball to DJ Chark.
They also have Joey. They have Galladay too, right? No, they don't have him. No. He's in. I should know that. He's in New York.
Kenny Galladay, right?
Yeah, he's in New York. I already know. You can stop looking. He's in New York. I know that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think he's there.
No, I think their roster is not bad.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think they did improve this year. We'll see. We'll see how they end up. I am very much want to see you win that prediction.
I am 100% sure.
Absolutely, I want to see it happen. Because then I don't have to listen to every single goddamn Eagles fan I know to talk about how they beat the Lions.
Yeah, that's something that's very underrated. I don't mind the Eagles, but Eagles fans are like the worst, and I think they're very underrated. When they say like worst fan bases, see, everybody's not from South Jersey, Philadelphia area to basically see how terrible they act. This is loudmouth, and this is before the Super Bowl.
This is endless.
Oh my God! So yes, Eagles fans are pretty bad. So yeah, I think Detroit's gonna do the upset right there.
Perfect. So what was the fourth game we were going at here?
Fourth game we were going at is which this is what I think is the second best game of this weekend, which is going to be Green Bay at Minnesota.
Yeah, I agree with that one. This is going to be a hard-fought division game. Again, there's a few things that you need to watch here. And Green Bay is favorite. but it's small. It's a 1.5
On the road, though.
Sure.
Like, yo, Green Bay, not, if I have to, there's one thing I need to say. Green Bay, the Super Bowl odds, the MVP odds, like all these things. I'm like, what is it that they're saying about Green Bay that has not been on display yet?
The bad man's still there.
I mean,
Aaron Rodgers.
but we've seen him. I'm incorporating the bad man in terms of these thoughts. What, like, how are you just week one road? Like,
I'll say this: I've been watching some individuals pick their Super Bowl teams, and a few of them have picked Green Bay to make it to the Super Bowl through the NFC.
This is amazing.
Look, I mean, it will be interesting, right? With the big thing is we're trying to figure out is Aaron Rodgers in that offense without Devontae Adams. Right, so you lose Devontae Adams. He's clearly an all-pro wide receiver for many, many years. Continuously is best in the league. He's in Las Vegas right now. I don't even have the list of wide receivers that Aaron Rodgers is throwing to, but you know there was the criticism through training camp about they need to step it up as there's rookies specifically. But we'll see. And then on the other side we have our Minnesota Vikings. Dalvin Cook, who's an absolute stud. He always has great years. Minnesota's like always in the hunt. They're always playing good football. I just don't know if Kirk Cousins is the one to do it for you across the season. Now, for this game specifically, I would have to go. Again, I go back to quarterbacks. I always go back to this. I would have to say the Packers win this one. I think they pull it out. Looks like the Packers defense is pretty improved. I think they'll be able to, shut down Kirk Cousins and Adam Thielen. But they do have Justin Jefferson up there too. So wide receiving crew is pretty ridiculous. So
yeah, I don't understand this, and I'm going Vikings. So I got 2 upsets this week apparently. So I told you I'm
much of an
upset,
but yeah, it is.
I mean, if you're gonna be a road favorite, yeah. I mean, you're saying something. To be a road favorite, that's a statement.
Yeah.
You're like, no, you're just better than this team. So, whatchamacallit? The Bills were road favorites.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that was.
They were telling you, like, you're better than this team. And I'm not seeing Green Bay being better than this team like that,
Find out. Is this game Sunday or Monday?
Sunday.
4:25. All right, perfect. So there are 4 must-watch, mostly because we want to see how did their team improve? How did some of these these new quarterbacks do, with or without their, their supporting staff? How that's turned over. I mean, we're going to talk about that for most games and most teams this year, but it'll be interesting. I just know that I said this to a friend the other day. Thursdays, Sundays, and Mondays are shot for me until
further notice.
I will be either on a couch or at a bar.
I got you.
Locked in for every one of these games.
I got you. The only thing I hope is that I can do like a brunch and then watch the games at the brunch if I'm working on Sunday. But we'll see. We'll see. All right, cool. So we went through the games that we thought. What we want to do now is just give me 2 games that when you look at just spread. So you don't pick the games that we already just went through. Yeah. Just when you look at the spread, just give me 2 games that you're like, this is the team I'm picking with the spread. And if you could just educate the America on how that process works.
And we probably should have did this before we started going through some of these other games. But for anyone that is not familiar with what a spread is, it's basically a way for Las Vegas and sports books to equalize a game. So we mentioned earlier that the Chiefs were favorites by 6 points, 6-point favorites over the Arizona Cardinals. Basically what's that saying is Las Vegas is and the sports book are saying that the Chiefs will win by 6 or more. So if you wanted to pick the Chiefs -6, they have to win by 7 or more for you to win that bet. But if they only win by 5 or less, or actually lose that game, then the Cardinals technically would win that spread bet. So We'll talk about this more throughout, this series and as we go on here. But yeah, what we want to do is just pick. Like, we were just giving you games on who we think's going to win. Like I said, I think the Chiefs are going to win outright. I actually think they'll win by more than 6. So, not that I'm going to use one of those as my spread picks here. But as we go through, what we want to do now is not necessarily just pick a team that we think's going to win the game, but that's going to cover the spread one way or the other. So, who do you got first? Which game did you want to go with on your pick as far as these spread picks?
I want to go. I'm going to go Cleveland Browns to cover the spread at Carolina, and they're favored by 1.5.
All right, excellent. So, that's an interesting one up there. Who is starting for Cleveland right now? Is it Teddy Bridgewater?
Should be
Jacoby Brissett. I seriously get all these people confused and forget names. So I'm going to need a little bit of a cheat sheet on this.
It's all good.
I would 100%. I don't even know. I looking at that, I don't think that pick is bad. I would be interesting to see how Baker Mayfield's getting started over there in Carolina, right? Like you talk about people with a chip on their shoulder. You talk about the Bills coming in, and for you to pick the Browns over the Panthers. I did see McCaffrey got put on the injury report though recently. I think it's just a precautionary thing. That's an interesting one. All right, so I don't know. I would not be contrarian, but I'd probably pick the Panthers there. Give me a 1.5 at home.
You want to take that?
I'm not going to pick that as my second.
Oh, but you would take
contrarian to you.
I understand.
Yeah, well, so where I was going to go with it, and I think we're just going to see a huge reduction or drop off, right, in the Atlanta Falcons. So I'm going to take the Saints -5.5 over the Falcons. They are in Atlanta.
What is it? What's the spread?
5.5.
-5.5?
Yeah, Saints -5.5.
Okay.
If anyone puts money on this, you gotta let us know so we can
keep putting it. Now,
look, Atlanta lost Matty Ice. Matt Ryan took them to a Super Bowl. They do have Marcus Mariota, who seems to be making a comeback in his career, but we'll see how he ends up in that. The only thing I can say as far as if Atlanta is going to win that game or lose me that spread, make sure all of the points go to Kyle Pitts, the tight end out of Atlanta, because he's on my fantasy football team. So if he scores like 6 touchdowns, I'm completely cool with losing that bet, that pick.
I understand.
All right, awesome. You said you wanted one more, right?
Yeah, you can take your second one. I'm still debating between 2.
Yeah, I know where I'm going with this, and this is a homer pick. I usually don't go against this at all. Never bet this team. I definitely won't put money on this team. The Dallas Cowboys +2.5 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Ooh.
They're home. I mean, don't get me wrong. Tampa Bay.
They are home dogs.
They are home dogs. Tampa Bay is Tampa Bay. You got Tom Brady. You have Mike Evans. I don't think Chris Godwin's playing this week, but they have everyone else other than Gronk. But I just gotta have some confidence seeing in this first week with the Cowboys. Let's see what Dak can do. I saw this like his Air Force Ones or something. His shoes hurt his foot the other day, and he got put on the injury report. So I don't know what that's all about. But
little mad at Nelly right now.
look, here's the one thing.
The younger generation isn't gonna get that.
Yeah, look that up.
Nelly had a song called Air Force Ones.
Look, my greatest hope for the Cowboys is always in the beginning of the season, and this they always play the best in the beginning of the season because what they're really freaking good at, is making us think we're gonna have a great season and then blowing it somewhere. So if there's time to pick them, it's week 1. I'm singing a different song next week, but here it is. Them +2.5. Give me a couple points at home. I think they're gonna win it outright anyway, so I'll take the points.
Okay. So mine, I'm taking Jacksonville +2.5 at Washington.
Okay.
I think Jacksonville's actually going to win that game outright.
That is an interesting one, purely based off of the fact that you've talked a lot, you've praised the Commanders this offseason.
I think praise is a pretty strong word.
You said they might win that division.
No, I didn't. I said that Dallas was coming in third. It's what I said.
Well,
listen, we can rewind the tape.
we might have to.
I know what I said.
All right. So
I said Dallas is going to be in third place, and Washington will be in second place.
So we got Trevor Lawrence pulling it out.
Yeah, I think who's the better? I mean, I think he's the better quarterback between him and Carson Wentz. I think that roster wise, I mean, I don't think Jacksonville has a bad roster.
Yeah, I think. I mean, they
might have overpaid for some people, but
sure,
but people are there.
Yeah. Who they specifically pay for? Who's
the wide receiver?
I know. I'm looking him up now.
Christian Kirk.
Christian Kirk. Resetting the wide receiver market. Clearly the number one. But they got Christian Kirk. They got Marvin Jones that's over there as well. Evan Ingram over from New York. I mean, I always liked him. Evan Ingram. I feel like he just never came to fruition as far as an offensive tight end.
They still got the running back from last year. What was his name?
Well, they got Travis
Etienne, but they drafted him. But what was the running back from last year? Robinson.
So yeah, but Travis Etienne was supposed to be the starter last year, got hurt. And James Robinson.
That's what I'm talking about. James
Robinson is still there. They're both still there. But James Robinson basically lost his job to Etienne last year. Mm-hmm. He ended up having an okay season. And it's had a couple good seasons, James Robinson. But we'll really see what Etienne can do. Hopefully he can stay healthy and, play some good football. Even though I do have James Robinson on my fantasy.
Yeah, but I say all that to say Jacksonville's running back group is good.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty curious to see it. I'm curious about Jacksonville.
And I think you said they're in.
They've been kicking our ass.
They're in Jacksonville, right?
No, it's in Washington.
Oh man, I really can't read this right here. Yeah, it is in Washington. Awesome. So, all right. Well, we'll see. I'm excited. Got a good roster. We'll see if any of these actually pay off. What we're right at.
Yeah, I mean the Colts are favored by 7. And I don't. I gotta see that, but we're not gonna. Like I said, there's not much to talk about because we're gonna win. But I don't know if we'll win by 7. I don't know. It might be tighter.
I mean,
it's a division game. Division games, even if somebody's ass in your division,
like Houston Texans ass though.
Yeah, they still come around. I mean, Jacksonville beat us and kicked us out the playoffs last year. They won 2 games. One of which was against us, week 17. I mean, so
yeah, so we'll see. 7 is a lot of points in the NFL, but I think I could see that being easily a 10, 14 plus game. But
it could be.
But it could go the other way. You're right. It's any given Sunday.
I mean, it could be 4. I just don't want us to be 0-9 in terms of week 1 games the last 9 years. 1-8 will be fine.
Just keep the streak.
Thanks, Indy.
Keep the streak going.
Thanks, Indy.
That's actually a great stat to know, though. If they are 0-8 in the last 8 years, this is where you hammer the Texans. If you were betting.
I mean, I would love that, but yeah. Actually, I don't want to hammer the Texans. I don't want us to be overconfident. I want us to feel like, all right, we got to play perfect to beat anybody. That's how I would want us to feel. So I don't want us to hammer the Texans.
No. When I say hammer, I mean as a bettor, you hammer the Texans.
Oh.
Because as a bettor, you take those streaks. When you look at someone that's 0-8 in the last 8 years in opening games, I mean, that's the stat you just gave me. You keep betting it. You keep betting it. It's like betting the Army-Navy game.
Listen.
If you've bet the under in the Army-Navy game in the last 20 years, you'd be up like $1 billion.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, I hope the Texans put that in their locker room and said, this is what they've done the last 8 years in week 1. We can take these guys. That's what I would hope, So that's cool. That. So, like I said, next week, we're actually going to be able to go over everything that we've talked about, and we'll have more.
See how wrong we were. We're going to be more confidence week 1. How right we were. Yeah, right.
Excuse me, but I was talking to America.
We're going to have to start putting up trackers on this stuff. Absolutely.
Oh, this is why I wrote it down. Listen, America, it's written down, okay? Don't let him talk you out of anything. It's written down, okay? We're going to see. Okay? Boom.
Money.
All right,
Week 1 is here.
Cool.
We are ready.
Listen, T.I. said if you
all I
stay
got is
ready,
that-
you ain't got to get ready.
Is it that Monday Night Football theme song? That's all I have in my head right now.
Let's
Let's do it. I don't know if that's how it goes, but. All right. With that, we appreciate.
Hold on. Okay, hold on. Before that, listen. Please like, subscribe. Please give us comments. We'd love to hear from you. We really appreciate the people that tune in and reach out to us. We try to respond as much as we can, and yeah, we appreciate you. We appreciate you tuning in. So, with that said, I'm your man Tariq.
Tim,
See you next week.
take it easy.